people, happy spring. So this is important because many of you use the central axis, right, which I can't do inside my body. So you turn around an axis, and that's this line right here, right? So you turn around this axis, and then now you've freed up one side. There's some finer details, right? Because it's really, you didn't free up anything, you just got thinner and that. But within this zone now, I can say, hey, my center mass is off of here when I'm square. And so I can just keep that mass as the average, and I can change some of my shape of my thing to get around to this stuff, right? We call this, in Iron Dog, we're always referring to like a Jet Li picture, right? So Jet Li in a movie, whoa, right? And then Wing Chun actual use straight ahead of you like this, right? For a movie, ooh, oh, right? But for real, it's like this. Put me in a movie that I don't make myself. So that's the second way to look at it, that within the square geometry, I have some room to move. And then if I put the two together, which is fine, right? I can go off of my opponent's aim center line, and then I can minimize the danger on the internal center line with footwork, his aim, internal line, my shouldering, Wing Chun turning. I went into the shadow there. Right? So I can minimize, and then I can use footwork to get off of it. This is martial arts, right? So we have all these vocabulary words that we got to keep track of and use specifically and not as synonyms if we want to be called scientific. So that's what Lung Ting and the Germans did, and now that's what we've done here in California, in the United States of America. And so we're trying to look at this and make sure we're all talking the same way when we post on the internet. So next up, if you take the central axis turn, which I'm just going to use as the wound line on the surface of the body, right, for the central axis turning, it's pretty good. And I could use it to take energy and send energy out on a central axis like a wheel. But then the Lung Ting turn moves me way over here off of that line, right? So I've got my internal right? My internal axis, and then I've got my hip socket axis. A-X-I-S, right? Axis. If you put it on the behind me, right? I'm twisting on the axis, right? Or I'm moving off. So the design of the hip socket turn is that my hip sockets are this wide. And so technically I have moved my center of mass way over to this side. But structurally, I'm in, if I start with my free body diagram, there's a cube around me. So I'm inside the cube, and the free body diagram average Centerline is still way over here for this diagnosis of the exchange of momentum. Let's just say it's just a punch that gets turned into Tan Sao and has to send out an elbow. Bop, right? So it's just boom, bop. So turning, and I'm moving over, and that turning is sending this one back out. And so the WT turn goes around over to here. And you could corkscrew in the energy, take a large arc, and make it half as big as that arc, and then half as big as that arc at the end. And one more in your hand, and you get this whipping effect built into the WT 100% turn. And it gets you completely out of that original area. So this entire vulnerable attack area can be completely evacuated. And if you had footwork, by just putting your foot behind you, you can get really far off. And then center of mass wise, you're in that sideways position that you guys like to have on the target, right? My trunk is lined up sideways. You guys like to do it right here. Your style of turn, right? So your tan out turn. And I think it's awesome, right? So you do the side, the foot thing that I don't like, at least I used to not like, right? So you do the foot thing. So you have your central rotation, and then you bump it back a little bit. And I'll be on those videos I watched with Rayton, right? He'll get in there and he'll get bumped and he'll move over. And we call that the do-si-do, around the outside. So that's part of Wing Chun, especially if I got a weapon system, right? Push myself around the outside. Oh, but they got really close in and I got to go like that. And so that's a elbow system for the empty hands, right? So, vertical axis that you rotate on. And then you could have it as a central axis. Or you could have an axis over each hip socket. Or you could have both, depending which one you need. The next confusing thing is that that's for beginners. This is our Tsun Tao line. And our joke has always been, the best Tsun Tao is going to beat everybody. So, why stop just getting better at Tsun Tao? What's the rest of it for? The rest of it's for fun and to teach Tsun Tao better. That's what it's for. So, then we start getting into two heights, which I'm doing some videos on right now. So, if I do a low block and a high punch, all right, we'll start looking at this second lower line. So I still have my Tsun Tao line that I took right, now I got this low line down here. All right, boom. We're in the garden. Our low line, bam, right? And then pretty soon, maybe I dealt with that, and I dealt with that up here, right? So then I'm like, cool, I want to, right? And so we do this in boxing a lot. I'm like, hey, right? Hey, that stayed down there. You see, that happened to me. I didn't plan that.